Hello, everyone. Welcome. Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, brought to you by Fairway Food Stores, the company that powers us from the beginning of the show to the end of the show to after the end of the show when we go about our regular lives. Fairway Food Stores. Hunter, what do you feel like we should buy from
Fair
Fairway? That you
food?
feeling? We need to get some it's grill season, Hunter.
Oh,
Hot dog.
yeah. You know what? They do have a good meat section there, so I'm gonna go with a nice. What kind of steak do I want?
Mecca of meats.
I'll just take. You know what? I'm gonna take a nice sirloin steak. How about that?
Yeah, steak sounds good today.
Maybe a couple hot dogs. I do like hot dogs.
Man, it is.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured it out, everybody, it's summer. We are bringing in summer. We got a little bit of spring sports to talk about. My voice, by the way, dead, almost dead. We're reeling in the summer season, and we are going to talk spring sports first. Hunter, is that all right with you?
Yes, sir.
Little spring sports first. I'm going to run by. Oh, sorry, I was at 2. But I was at 2 spring sports, but I was so in tune with the tennis tournament that I just tricked myself into thinking I was there physically. Hunter, I need to tell you about Thursday night, Williamsburg, Iowa, Hunter.
Yes, sir. I know where you're going with this.
So in what could have been one of our more historic soccer games in the Union coverage area's history, at least since I've been here. Mount Pleasant, little scrappy Mount Pleasant, coming in to the top 5 ranked Williamsburg Raiders team on that turf football field, real expensive looking turf football field, and Panthers go down 3-2 in the sub-state final, regional final, however you want to call it, soccer wise. I'll tell you what, Hunter. You go into that, you don't really know because we've been watching all our teams play, Southeast Iowa. You kind of get intimidated by the word Williamsburg Raiders.
Yeah.
Big soccer team this year. I didn't know what to expect when I went up there. Whether it was going to be, they were basically going to be all stinking World Cup players and just going crazy. Mount Pleasant more than fought right with them. Williamsburg was up 1-0 at halftime, but I would have argued that the last 10, 15 minutes of the first half were dominated by Mount Pleasant. They were basically walking the soccer ball to the box and setting up shots. Shots in the setup about even. Mount Pleasant, Samuel Shopping puts in he was shopping for some goals early in the second half. Puts in a hard grounder past the Williamsburg keeper, 1-1. Then it's like Mount Pleasant's got all the momentum. Thought they were going to go up 2-1. Instead, a cross pass from Williamsburg turns into an own goal, bounces off a Mount Pleasant defender, and just a flex unlucky into the net. Williamsburg went up 3-1. Panthers had some injury troubles. Brandon Velosa has been awesome this postseason. Had a hamstring injury, so they were shorthanded there. Mount Pleasant was already, a little shorthanded with injuries and stuff throughout the season. But Panthers put one more goal in with about 5 minutes left. Giants put in a shot with 5 minutes left on a cross that went past a couple of Williamsburg defenders. Put him, Giants Joseph, that is. Put him in space off the right side, scored. Panthers had a couple chances, including right at the buzzer, but time runs out on Mount Pleasant. A 3-2 loss, and then the team they lost to, Williamsburg, just knocked off Notre Dame. They're in the Final Four. So,
yep,
what could have been for that Mount Pleasant team, but what could be for the future of Mount Pleasant soccer, as they only have 4 seniors on that team. We could be ushering in a new era of Mount Pleasant soccer, Hunter.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's a tough loss for them because they very well, like you mentioned, could have won it. But Do lose some, key players that really stood up for them this year, but at the same time, like you said, just look to kind of reload next season with some of the same players, and definitely have a chance to kind of repeat what they did this year heading into next season.
Yeah. You talk about reloading. Panthers have a lot of freshmen that play for that team. I was just looking through the stats to see the leading scorers coming back. They're pretty balanced, honestly, this year. Akbar Wilson and Samuel Chopin had 10 goals apiece. Wilson's a junior, Chopin's a senior. They had 9 from Dylan Wyatt, a junior. They had five players with 15 points or more points. Of course, 2 for a goal, 1 for an assist. 3 of those are eligible to come back. Brandon Willis, a sophomore, White and Wilson juniors. So, and they have just a ton of talent over there. So, could be a big year in soccer next spring. And then why don't I just jump right into another? Sport, Hunter. The Class 1A girls tennis singles tournament was played in Waterloo. We had two players in the tournament, both Fairfield Trojans. Natalie Steele and Pujita Mukadam were both in. Mukadam actually won her first round game, lost her second. Steele had to go against the eventual state champion in the first round. But Steele battled through the consolation bracket and takes 8th place. So that's a placement for Steele, who's coming back next year, of course. And then, here, I'll talk about that in a second. And then Mukadam came 1 win away from the top 8. So both, top 10 to 15 players in 1A. And I mentioned that Steele is eligible to come back next year. Not that long of a wait, Hunter, because girls tennis players will be picking right back up here in like 2 months because of the switch taking girls tennis to spring. I haven't seen the official schedule yet, but I've heard that they're going to try and get a lot of games done in August, early August. So girls tennis might be the first fall sport to get kicked off. So it's not a goodbye for the girls tennis season, but a see ya in a little bit.
See you a little bit later.
See you a little later, girls tennis. Very weird. You know what? I'll say it, Hunter. I don't really like that they're switching girls tennis into the fall.
Yeah, it's
not
weird.
Simple anymore. I'm gonna forget. We're gonna have to change a bunch of stuff with our fall preview. I don't know, Hunter. I don't know.
I don't know if I like it either, but
I don't know if I like it. But we'll see. I mean, we're gonna have some cold weather tennis in the postseason, I think, a little bit, maybe not. One more thing in spring sports, Hunter. I was in Marshalltown, Iowa. As you might hear my dog in the background just rolling around in nothing. I was in Marshalltown, Iowa to watch the Class 1A girls state tennis tournament. I guess last week we didn't even get to fully talk about the Class 1A boys state tennis tournament, right? Because it was finishing up during showtime.
Yes.
So real quick, I'll go through boys first. First off, in Class 3A, the Hillcrest Academy Ravens take 4th place. They shot plus 97, 5 shots ahead of Sigourney for 4th place. And a lot of that was because of Liam Schrock, a senior who shot plus 2, who came this close from a Class 1A singles championship. He finished 1 shot off of Hamburg's Keith Thompson. Schrock got 2nd. Rowan Miller got 8th. He finished plus 9. Hillcrest also had, let me Let me do the old finder button there. Hillcrest had another player in the top 60. Ryland Good finished 56 plus 39. Lawsonschrock finishes at plus 42. By the way, 4 of these 6 are sophomores. 1 is a junior, Miller, and then Liam Schrock is the only senior. So this team's going to have a lot coming back next year. Matthew Chalupa, plus 48 for 72nd. Ethan Yoder, plus 54 for 79. And then that was in 1A. I don't remember last week if you talked about how Drew Conrad was doing, but he actually ended up playing in he was there individually in the 3A tournament. That was in Cedar Falls. The one I just talked about was actually in Waterloo. Tried to go to our esteemed website, southeastiowaunion.com, and accidentally clicked on Southeast Conference. Wanted to remember Conrad's final score here. By the way, for all you Drew Conrad fans, check out our newspaper, the newspaper that just came out on Tuesday. In the 3A tournament, he gets a top 25 finish, 24th, 74 on day 1, 78 on day 2, to wind up, for all you math nerds out there, at 152. By the way, Conrad, a junior too, coming back next year. If it wasn't for some complaining, I would be talking about how boys golf was about to come in the fall, but they changed that back. Parents were like, no.
Yeah, can you imagine that? That would have been really dumb.
I really like how it's scheduled right now.
Because what were they going to have in the summer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if
it was going to be, they were well, they were just going to switch boys golf and girls tennis into the fall. They said it was for player safety. I'll tell you what. Can I just be controversial?
Do it.
The idea is not gaining traction when you decide to throw player safety in there when it doesn't apply.
Right.
But I don't remember the logic. They wanted to even it up. It's true that spring does have more sports than fall.
Yeah.
But fall has football and volleyball, like major sports.
And those sports are playing those sports are going, well, I mean, I guess football is every Friday, but like volleyball's happening like every other day or every back-to-back days. And even like on weekends, they're at tournaments and stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
My thought, Hunter, is that, there's 4 spring sports, but they are, soccer, you have a lot of kids that play soccer, but not every small school has a soccer team. Sometimes they play together. Right. You have track. Yeah, you usually have a lot of kids running track. Tennis, 7, 8 kids most of the time are on the tennis team. Golf, same. 7, 8 kids are usually on the golf team. So those are 2 sports that they don't like. It's not like there's like 30 people playing all those sports. Anyway, Hunter, they don't let us make these decisions. But I'm not. But you know what? We're still going to cover tennis, girls tennis, with the same fervor that we ever have in the fall. And then we're going to actually add fervor in the spring to the other sports. We're going to somehow do that. We're going to be going like 150% because we're going to stay 100% for the girls tennis in the fall. But then we're going to figure out a way to cheat the math and add 50% in the place of girls tennis not being there in the spring.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for signing off on that. I was looking for a little bit of like, yeah. Anyway, so now back to what I was doing live. I went to American Legion Golf Course, a course that I desperately want to play myself, but it's probably like $500. Anyway, so let me tell you, I went there. Highland was fighting for a top 5 spot the whole time. Actually, after day 1, there were 3 individual golfers that had shot 77, tied for first. One of those golfers was Highland junior Emerson Schultz. For some reason, they didn't group them all together, so she was playing she was playing totally opposite of the other 2 77s. The other 77s started on 10 and ended on 9. She started on 1 and ended on 18. The team race and stuff like that had something to do with it, but that was weird to me. Anyway, when it was all said and done, Hunter, the Highland Huskies get 4th place in Class 1A. They got a big old shiny trophy. Schultz ended up tied for 6th, so she wasn't quite able to pull out that individual state championship. She just played so good on the first day. I didn't think I thought Highland had a good chance to get top 3 as a team. I didn't know that they were going to have anybody really that close in the individual race, because sometimes in golf, the individual races, there's 1 or 2 kids that are way better than everybody else. Right. I'll tell you what, I was watching the live score bug because I went to day 2 of this thing, and there were like 8 girls who were in it. And you never knew who was going to be in first when it was all said and done. But anyway, Schultz shot a 166 for 6th place. Then Jocelyn, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, Addison Protzman shot 175 for 15th place. Adeline Krotz shot a 192 for 41st place. And then we had Jocelyn Protzman. That's why I screwed it up at first. Finished with a 203. Autumn Guzman shot a 227. And Cassidy Dester with a 253. Those were not our only golfers in there, Hunter. New London's Emma Busby, a senior. She had played at American Legion a couple times, because New London, it was kind of a rare year for New London not to be there as a team. Yep. She goes out there. She gets top 25, much like Conrad of Washington. She ended up shooting a 180, which was 24th, much like Conrad. And there you go. When the last ball went in the hole, that was the end of spring sports, Hunter.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, I guess the Fairfield girls were wrapping up the tennis tournament about the same time, so it was probably a photo finish on what ended first. But that's it. You got any favorite memories from spring, Hunter?
Honestly, every matchup between Mount Pleasant and Fairfield on the soccer field.
Those were great. Those were great games.
Those were down to the wire basically every time. So that was fun to watch.
My favorite memory was when our broadcaster Jack had his first game to call on Southeast Iowa Live, and it was Mount Pleasant at Washington, and then they didn't have enough officials, and so he had to stop halfway through. That's pretty funny. Anyway, that's it. We're not talking about spring anymore. Turning up the heat, Hunter.
Yes, we are.
When we come back, Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, we're going to talk baseball, we're going to talk softball, and we're not going to talk about anything else. But we'll talk about some other stuff. Stick with us.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
At WCHC, our goal is to take great care of our patients and our staff.
We are able to approach you, take care of your issues, but also give you a path, as far as referrals or treating you right then and there.
Our role in the community is taking care of something that matters to everyone. It's their family and their health.
More than you expect for your health care.
Well, hello. How are you? I'm Andy Kretzky. This is Hunter Moeller. Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. I was told off the break that my voice doesn't sound too bad. It feels like every single time I talk, I'm just getting punched on the throat with every word. I don't know what it's from, guys, but recording this on Wednesday, you're probably going to see me at a baseball or softball game later this week, and I'm going to be, no words will be coming out of my mouth. I'll be talking like this. It's tough to yell at your kids to come downstairs, get ready, get their shoes on when you don't have voice. Anyway, Hunter, we're going to talk about some baseball, softball. You know what, Hunter? Let's make it fun for me. I want you to tell me. Do you want me to talk about the baseball or softball last night first? I'll go first. A little Fairfield, Mount Pleasant, and then for each sport, Hunter will follow.
Let's do some softball.
Let's talk about a little softball action. Softball action at Maple Leaf Athletic Complex. Right on that one road. I don't remember. I guess Maple Leaf Road, Mount Pleasant, Iowa. That's probably wrong. Short walk from the KFC. The Fairfield Trojans and Mount Pleasant Panthers were battling for the first time in 2025. And let me tell you, Hunter, there were a lot of runs in game number 1. 20-9 Fairfield wins. Believe it or not, Hunter, this game was 9-8 Mount Pleasant going into the 5th inning. The Fairfield Trojans drop a 8 spot in the 5th and 4 more in the 6th to end up with these 20 runs. I was looking at the hitting stats for Fairfield. They're off the charts, Hunter. Leah Helmick, she went 3 for 5, 4 runs scored, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs. Softball has been going on for what, like a week and a half, Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
On the season, Leah Helmick has 14 RBIs already.
Dang.
Which probably gets you all conference if you have 14 RBIs at the end of the year, depending on the year. Lily Bergeron 4 for 5. Olivia Hollander 3 for 5. They each had a couple of RBIs. Laney Norris 2 for 3, and she got the win in the circle. Faith Jones 3 for 5. Fairfield's got a strong lineup. Fairfield has hit 9 or more runs in every game except one so far of their first 5. And Mount Pleasant, I mean, they were. There was at one point I said, "Oh, this might be a Mount Pleasant win." It would have been the first Mount Pleasant win over Fairfield, I think, since 2018 or 19. They came back. Fairfield had a strong start. Mount Pleasant had rallied, but they still score 9 runs. 3 hits from Keegan Coleman, 3 hits from Izzy Sloat, 2 hits each from Bella Dodds, Lila Cook, Sage Burchett, Parker Coleman, a couple RBIs each for Joel and Martin, Parker Coleman. Martin also had 2 hits, and Izzy Sloat. So the Panthers had a nice offensive performance as well. Honestly, the difference was that big inning for Fairfield. They slowly loaded the bases and just started to cut away at the Mount Pleasant defense, single after single, and Mount Pleasant made a couple of mistakes. So Fairfield escapes that one. And then game 2, I mentioned Leah Helmick's 6 RBIs in game 1. She steps in the circle, and of all 4 games, baseball and softball, that were played at Maple Leaf Athletic Complex, I think all of them went over like 20 in total runs. But Helmick is able to pitch a little gem in game 2. Fairfield wins 9-1. 3 more hits for Bergen and Hollander in this one for the Trojans. And Mount Pleasant only had 2 total off of Helmick. So Helmick's had a real strong year. So that's 2 wins for the Fairfield Trojans to start out SEC play. You're watching this on Thursday. They will host Fort Madison, also a 2-0 team. Early marquee game in SEC action on Thursday night. But you might not get more marquee all year than the doubleheader that Hunter was at. In good old Washington, Iowa, Hunter, it was ranked versus ranked. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, first off, obviously, probably the 2 best softball teams in Southeast Iowa. Going at it with Washington and Burlington. As you mentioned, both ranked. Washington 10 in 3A, and then Burlington 14 in 4A. But really, it was pretty much all Washington for the most part in this one. And so obviously huge statement made by the Demons here. They get the sweep of Burlington 9-6 and 13-1. In game one, Washington had showed some poise early on. Clawed back from an early 2-0 deficit. Ended up tying the game in the fourth and then taking the lead in the fifth. Olivia Anderson sparked a go-ahead rally with an RBI single to score Ella Greiner. And then freshman Mackenzie Messer followed with a career highlight for her. First career hit, a double, brought 2 runs home. Burlington did answer back in the top half of the sixth with a trio of runs, but the Demons answer back, I guess. And Messer and Colby Greiner led that charge with a 4-run outburst with that pair, Messer and Greiner, both having 2-run singles to get them back on top. So Burlington didn't have an answer the rest of the way in that one. Colby Greiner, and Leighton Salazar each finished with 3 hits in that first game win. Anderson and Ella Greiner finished with 2 runs each, and Salazar also had 4 steals. I mean, I think she was probably one of the top stealers in the state last season, and she's kind of keeping up with that that narrative into this season. In that win, Colby Greiner pitched 5 and almost 5.5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those earned, 5 walks with 8 strikeouts. Game 2 was pretty much all Demons after another early deficit. Fell behind just 1-0 in the first inning. But then after that, Washington erupted, scored a whopping 12 runs in the bottom of the first frame, and that was pretty much all they needed to put Burlington away in that second game. It was kind of a Bella Salazar game in this one, forcing pretty much all around in that second contest. Drove in 3 runs with 2 hits, scored twice herself, and then obviously shut down Burlington in the circle as well. Pitched all 4 innings, gave up just 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, and with 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. So statement made for the Washington Demons, now 2-0 in conference play, riding a 6-game win streak since that early loss to Clear Creek Amana, who is a top 10 team in 4A as well. And they're going to take on Mount Pleasant on Thursday. We'll look to keep that streak alive. So I mean, right now you could probably say that Washington is probably the best team in the area right now with how they've been playing. So yeah, lopsided win, big win for Washington here to kick off conference play against a pretty stout opponent.
Yeah, a clear favorite. Also, by the way, Burlington. You mentioned the rankings. I think Burlington played Benton, who was number 6 in 3A, and smacked them just a couple days before they lost to Washington. Washington hosts Mount Pleasant. You want to watch that? You can't go out. You can't get to Washington. You can't get to Washington High School for that game. Southeast Iowa Live on the Southeast Iowa Union's video network will have that game live. They also have the Burlington Washington baseball games. We'll talk about those in a second. First, Fairfield and Mount Pleasant baseball. Here's a stat for you, Hunter. You want a stat?
Hit me.
You happen to remember how many points were scored in the Fairfield Mount Pleasant football game this year?
Let's see. That was the first game of the season, and it was, wasn't it? It was a 1-point game. It was 6-7.
No, it was 13-12 though. But it was 13-12 in overtime. So you're right. I think it was 6-6 after regulation. So in overtime, 25 points in the football game. In the baseball games, 27 points and 22 points. The first game was 20-7 Fairfield. Fairfield just busted out to I started in softball, and you just kept hearing Fairfield cheers over at the baseball field. They scored the first 8. They scored 8 in the first inning. It was 12-0 after the top of the first. They scored the first 12 runs. Mount Pleasant starts to claw back, cut this thing to 12-7 after 4 runs. Cut it from a 12-point deficit to a 5 a 12-run deficit to a 5-run deficit. But thanks to a 3-double day by junior Dason Workman, 4 for 5 with 3 doubles, the Trojans get out of this one with a 20-7 victory. Workman 4 for 5 with those 3 doubles, a couple RBIs. Ethan Bisgard went 3 for 4 with a Bommarooney and 5 RBIs.
Bommarooney.
Bommarooney sent one out of there. Was that the only homer? The only home run of the 4 games. You had homers in your games, right? Or no?
No.
That was the only home run of the 8 games we covered. Wow, Ethan Bisgard. Tell you what, that he's not the biggest dude on the block, but he's the dude who hit it the furthest on Monday night. And Mount Pleasant offensively in that first game, Grayson Lowry with 2 hits. They only had 7 hits. There was some shaky defense all around, I'll tell you that. I think both coaches would tell you that. And it went into the second game, but check this out. So the pitchers for Fairfield, Voss Richardson and Dason Workman, 7 runs given up to the Panthers, 0 earned. And then on the other side, those 20 runs, there were 11 earned for Fairfield. So that is a total of 11 earned runs and 16 unearned runs in game 1. Now, game 2, Mount Pleasant starts out with the early momentum. They were up 3-0 very early, but the Trojans battle back and win this thing 14-8. It was 3-0 Mount Pleasant early. It was 5-4 after 3 innings, and then Fairfield scores 10 runs over the next 3 innings. And let me do that little experiment where I look at the earned runs again, Hunter. Earned runs for Fairfield. Actually, 12 of the 14 were earned in game 2, so less unearned. And then Mount Pleasant-wise, of those 8 runs, 2 were earned. So, by the way, Dean Burkhart came in, pitched really well for Fairfield. Of course, gave up 8 runs, but all those were unearned. And Zach Newton started for the Panthers, and then Peyton Walker, catcher, came in to pitch. But hitting-wise, Burkhart 4 for 5. Workman this time 3 for 5 with a double. That makes it 4 doubles on the day for him. Kaysen Miller, 3 RBIs, couple hits for the Trojans. And for the Panthers, we have a 3-hit game from J.C. Sitar and Zach Newton. Sitar also had a double. A couple RBIs for him. Grayson Lowry, a couple RBIs. Jamison Rich, a couple of RBIs. Ooh, did you hear my voice there when I said the word Rich?
Yep.
Going out. It's going out. So there you go. Oh, by the way, here's something interesting, Hunter. Because, Varsity Bound has a lot of, stats at this point because it's been going since like 2010?
Yep.
Since 2010, Mount Pleasant and Fairfield have played in baseball 52 times. Mount Pleasant has won 27 of those. Fairfield has won 25. Don't get more even than that, Hunter. One of the most even sports rivalries that we cover in this entire newspaper. Couple go to the Trojans. And Hunter, you were still in Washington. This one was broadcast on Southeast Iowa Live. Tough Burlington team coming to play.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, right now, Burlington has now got a pretty good hold. Them and Fairfield on the as of how it played out on Monday night, Burlington and Fairfield in conference action are both tied. Washington does get swept by Burlington on the night. For Washington, it was a tough night because they held leads in both of these games. Lost 8-3 and then 9-4 in the conference slate. In the opening game, Washington jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first inning, held that lead for 3 innings, did well defensively through that span, to kind of limit, a Greyhound team that can really hit the ball. But things kind of began to shift in the next frame there in the fourth. Burlington responded with what was a decisive 4th inning rally, scored all 8 of their runs in that inning there to basically pretty much put the game, the game just kind of really Washington gaining any ground the rest of the way. So that 8-run inning kind of, handed Washington their the first conference loss of the season. In that first game, Mitchell Zieglowski, Bowden Brown, Luke Schreibel, Cole Vetter each tallied a hit for Washington. Runs came from Blaze Richardson, Nate Edmonds, and Cale Williams in that one. Game 2 followed a similar script. Washington built a 3-1 advantage by the third inning in this one, but Burlington once again delivered kind of a big blow midway through with a pretty high scoring inning. This time, Burlington scored 7 runs, and really, once again, Washington just couldn't get back into it in that one. But Connor Layden, with a strong showing at the plate, collected 2 hits, scored twice himself. Ethan Peebler, 2 RBIs, and scored a run. Brown chipped in a hit as well, and a run of his own. That's kind of how those 2 games played out. Tough, when you have the lead and then you give up kind of a big inning with a lot of runs like that. But with the loss, Washington now 0-2 in conference action, 1-4 overall, and they're going to be taking on Mount Pleasant on Thursday, as I said about softball. So, looking forward to Thursday. I think Mount Pleasant Washington is probably going to be a pretty good game. As one of those teams kind of tries to separate themselves and kind of get back into the win column in conference action.
For sure. I would say, they're both 0-2, but Fairfield and Burlington may be the teams to beat in the SEC in general. So losing to those 2 teams, even though they both lost at home, a lot of games to be played. So big one there. Always big one. It's Washington and Mount Pleasant. That's it for big school baseball, Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
We still got lots of baseball, lots of softball back. When we come back to the C block, Hunter will talk all of the small school baseball. Andy will talk all the small school softball, and then we'll send you on your way.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
Bring the kids, share the memories, celebrate 75 years of traditions at the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Relive the magic of steam engines, antique cars, and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Whether it's your first visit or a cherished tradition, you'll enjoy the delicious foods, the thrill of an Old West shootout, and the excitement of nightly grandstand entertainment. For 75 years, this has been the place where memories are made at the 2025 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 28th through September 1st in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, powered by Fairway. Hunter, small school baseball is here. It's upon us. What happened in the world of small school baseball on Monday?
Probably just Monday night.
Monday. Oh, that's right. We didn't have any baseball on Tuesday night. We had rain on Tuesday night.
Yeah, on Monday night it was a pretty, for all intents and purposes, successful night for our Union area schools that did play. So we'll just go through them here and talk maybe a little brief stats of how it went. But in the baseball world, Mid Prairie looking pretty dang good in the early season. Only one loss. They double up on West Branch on Monday night, 9-2 and 19-1. In that one, in the first game, 9-2 game, Golden Hawks nearly shut out the Bears, gave up 2 runs, and West Branch's final 2 runs came in the 9th inning. Prior to that, Mid Prairie scored 6 runs between the 4th and 5th and added 2 more in the top half of the 7th. Landry Gingrich leads Mid Prairie with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Brooks Weber threw 5 innings and struck out 5. I tell you what, the Weber boys in Mid Prairie are dang good athletes.
They are.
And in game 2, Mid Prairie really no problem. Listen to this. Golden Hawks scored all 19 runs in the first 3 innings to end that one after 4. Jason Heitman finished with 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 RBIs. Brady Weber had 1 hit, 2 runs, 5 RBIs, and a home run in the win. And then listen to this. We know he's good on the mound too. Pitched all 4 innings with 10 strikeouts. So talking about the Weber boys, that's why I mentioned it, because I knew he kind of popped off in that second game there. Another really good team up in the kind of north southeast Iowa area, Hillcrest Academy, looking very sharp as well. 15-0 over Danville. Finished the game in 5 innings after holding the Bears scoreless. Scored 6 runs in the first 2 innings and added 7 more in the 4th, followed by 2 in the 5th to kind of put it away. Mason Bender with 2 hits, 1 run, 1 RBI, 2 stolen bases. And then Lincoln Miller, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base as well. Phoenix Anderson pitched all 5 innings with 7 strikeouts. Van Buren County, a lot of high-scoring games here at the top of this list. But Van Buren County 11-0 over Winfield Mount Union. Warriors led 6-0 after the first 2 innings, and the Wolves could really never get back in, or could never get into it. VBC finished with 5 runs in the 4th to put a nail in it. Big game for Will Cochran. 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Aiden McEntee, Kenneth Miller, Isaac Meek all had 2 hits as well. Cockrell also threw all 5 innings with 9 strikeouts. For WMU, Colby Newsom with 2 hits. Riley Kalberg with 1 hit as well, obviously. Colby Newsom, Winfield Mount Union kid, and Riley Kalberg, Columbus kid. Obviously, WMU and Columbus are together in baseball. One of the more exciting games of the night. Actually, the final 2 games on this list are pretty exciting. But New London 2-1 over Pekin. And this one's kind of interesting. New London gave up that 1 run in the very first inning of the game, but never let Pekin score again. Meanwhile, it took New London 4 innings to find their first run in the game, and then the 6th inning to put what would be the winning run on the board. Tate Welcher and Gavin Strawhacker both finished with RBIs for New London. Welcher and Gavin Minky Bailey also had 2 hits each. Kai Riggard and Owen Nearing gave up 6 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts on the hill combined. For Pekin, Henry Adam leads the way with 2 hits. So a big win for New London there. And then finally, the only loss on the night is Cardinal taking on Sheraton. Sheraton gets it done in a nail-biter 5-4. This one's tough for Andy because it says alma mater versus one of our teams. But Sheraton, led early 4-0 after 5 innings. So, kind of looking like they were going to kind of keep a firm hold on it. But the Comets answer back with 4 runs of their own between the 6th and 7th. But Cardinal could never get another run on the board, and Sheraton ends up walking it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. For Cardinal, Gazin Miller, 2 hits, 1 run. Cody Burleson ended with 2 hits and 1 run and 2 RBIs as well. So that's it from the baseball roundup. Obviously, would be a bit more games, but weather kind of ruined that last night.
Quick note on that Cardinal score: that Sheraton team is a state semifinalist last year, and that was in Sheraton. So Cardinal looking a little strong. I saw them against Mount Pleasant. Another tough one-run loss there, but watch out for Cardinal baseball, and I'll put a pin in that for when I get to Cardinal softball. But first, in the Super Conference, first off, we only have 2 South teams. Van Buren County would have been scheduled to play Winfield Mount Union in softball. That didn't happen. I'll explain why right now. Because New London Winfield Mount Union super team. We're in Winfield, New London and Winfield playing together this year on the softball field. Ooh, Hunter's getting a call, a special breaking news call probably. Pekin 11-7 over New London Winfield Mount Union. It's going to be hard to remember to always put that in there like I do with Columbus WMU. Couple hits each for Maya Brainbridge and defending now 2-time discus champion Anna Hadley for the Panthers. New London was actually down 8 going into the bottom of the last inning, scored 4, but couldn't put any. And that was 18 runs out of our teams in that one. Super Conference rise, Hunter. Shutting off lights. Super Conference wise, we didn't get a lot of other runs. Hillcrest at Danville falls 6-0. Highland at West Burlington. By the way, if you guys haven't picked up, this is a crossover day. This is North versus South. 10-0 loss for the Huskies. So that's what we got. Super Conference wise, by the way, a lot of these kids, Hunter mentioned a lot of spring sports kids. A lot of these kids are coming right off the golf course or the track to play currently. I'm going to jump into the, you know what, why don't I go to the South Central? Why don't I talk about the Cardinal comments? Because Hunter mentioned Cardinal baseball. Cardinal softball also fell in Sheraton last night. They fell 5-1. Cardinal softball is 2-3. Those 2 wins are blowout conference wins. Those 3 losses are all to ranked Class 3A teams. 2 losses to Washington, now 1 loss to Sheraton. Those are all ranked teams. So watch out for Cardinal baseball. Watch out for Cardinal softball this year. And then in the South Iowa Cedar League. Oh, wait, Kyoto didn't play. So why did I intro it like that, like Kyoto played? Just pretend I didn't say that. I didn't do that intro. What I meant to say was, in the River Valley South, the Mid-Prairie Golden Hawks put it on West Branch, 12-3. Mid-Prairie's stats are not in on this one, but Mid-Prairie has now scored. They scored 12 in this win. They scored double digits in a 17-16 loss against Keokuk. They scored double digits in a 12-11 win against Mount Pleasant. So quick math on that. What's the average of 12, 12, and 16? 24 plus 16 is 30, 40. What's 40 divided by 3? They average about 13 1/3 points. Runs per game. Mid-Prairie Golden Hawk softball. Like in football, we got a lot of high-scoring softball games and baseball games, Hunter. Ball's flying out of the yard.
We do. Yes, we do.
And the ball's flying out of the yard when you watch Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, because we're only hitting dingers. We're only hitting homers.
Like ones that are about 400 feet.
That's right. Some episodes are like a triple to the wall. But that's it. That's all we have for you. You got to see us. Baseball, softball, come say hi to us. We'll be there. We'll probably be in Fairfield and Washington on Thursday. I'm not sure we're on Friday yet, but it's the season. 'Tis the season, baseball and softball. Thank you for watching again.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace up, 8-Town down. Shout out little John.